Welcome, everybody, to the X Factor Sports Talk. I'm your host, Fred, always joined by my beautiful, beautiful co-host, Troy Coomer. This is NBA Sports Talk on the X Factor Sports Network. Troy, how we doing today, baby?
Doing great. Love talking sports in general, but the NBA, man, cannot wait. It's a week away, right at. You'll be seeing it on Tuesday, every Tuesday from here on out through the NBA season. And today we're really just going to kind of highlight a couple things. We have one topic in mind that we're going to start the show with that shouldn't take too long. But from here, we'll see our playoff predictions and our award predictions. So we're really excited, just kind of highlighting what's to come of the NBA season. And then next week, we will have a game of the week where we'll kind of hit on it. And we'll see where the wind takes us next week. But for this week's show, I just wanted to start out. Now, there was this thing on Twitter that came out, and it was these NBA GMs. They voted on who was going to have a breakout year. Now, I normally never really highlight anything that NBA GMs vote on because most of the time they're very opinionated and really biased towards some of the guys that are on their team. But I thought this list was interesting. There was a top five. First was surprisingly Jaren Jackson Jr., second Anthony Edwards, Michael Porter Jr., Darius Garland, and then sitting at number 5 was Ja Morant, which Ja Morant at 5. I mean, that's intriguing in and of itself. But I wanted to ask Fred, do you think that they are missing anyone? And if you had a list, what would your list kind of look like? And who do you believe will make that leap, man?
First of all, I don't really understand why Michael Porter Jr. and Ja Morant are on this list. I mean, are they saying they're going to jump from to this to
points per game to
yeah, like when I think of big jumps or somebody's going to break out, it's like someone you just didn't expect. Like Ja Morant and Michael Porter, two guys. Michael Porter's got a max contract or close to it.
Yeah,
he just got you don't give that to a player who's you think is going to break out. Yeah. He's already been in the league. He's already produced. Obviously, his injuries problems are gone, I guess. But I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. cool. I don't think he's going to be anything more than what he averaged last year, 15, 5, and a couple blocks a game. And that's good for him as a career. I mean, Anthony Edwards, sure. I mean, he's going to score a lot on that team, and that's just what's going to happen. Like I said, MPJ is what he is. And Darius Garland, I mean, he's not even the best guard on his team. I mean, I think he may be the third or fourth option this year. So I don't see that happening. And then Ja Morant, like I said, we already know who he is. We already know he's a very good basketball player.
Do you think they're missing anybody? Where would you go there?
I came up with my own top 5 list, actually.
All right, let's hear it. I said,
NBA GMs, you don't know anything. Number 1, I got Jonathan Isaac.
Okay.
A guy me and you both really liked.
Injury bug riddled career.
Yep. Didn't play last year. Year before, averaged 12 points, 7 rebounds, and almost 2 steals a game. High shooting percentage, 34% from 3. I just think he makes that jump. If he can stay healthy, I think he's way too talented not to.
6'11", 2 guard that can guard any position. And, well, I would call him more of a 3, maybe a forward. Yeah. But
I mean, he can guard 1 through 5. His arms, he can tie his shoes standing straight up. It's a fact.
He's unbelievable if he's healthy.
Yeah. Number 2, kind of in that boat with Ja Morant and MPJ. They've kind of proved it before, but I think he's going to make a significant jump, like an all-star level. Karis LeVert of the Indiana Pacers. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. I think he makes that jump. Him and Sabonis do great things in Indiana. Number 3 is a guy who kind of had a disappointing rookie year in my mind. Obi Toppin from the New York Knicks. Super athletic guy.
Think about him. That's a great call.
Big fan of his brother, Kentucky Wildcat, Jacob Toppin, but only averaged 4 points, 2 rebounds, 50% from the field. I'd like to see that, even go up more just because he's an inside guy. He shot even 30% from the 3, so, I mean, he proved it. I really am a big fan of Obi Toppin. I was a big fan of him in the draft. Number 4 is DeAndre Hunter, 15 points, 5 rebounds, and shot 48% from the field, which is amazing for a 2 guard, 3 guard.
The Hawks, man. Don't even get me started.
So I think he makes a significant jump. I think
now another one of those guys, him and Jonathan Isaac, you can kind of fit in the same category. If they're healthy, these guys are potential 3-and-D guys that you can see contending on championship level teams. Like these are guys that I kind of think of it as like an Andre Iguodala that even 15 years down the road, you're going to be hearing these guys' names because what they do, like a Trevor Ariza, is just so valuable to championship level teams.
And look how sought after they are. Look at PJ Tucker. I mean, Andre with all the guys like that. Like
PJ Tucker just got paid to
as
literally
he should.
be a bulldog, like to shoot threes and to defend at a high
Jay
level.
Crowder, guys like that.
Yeah.
The number 5 is a guy I'm really high on, and if out of everybody on this list, I might put him as my number 1 breakout guy. It's a guy I really loved coming out of college a couple years ago from San Diego State, Toronto Raptor, Malachi Flynn. No more Kyle Lowry. Who's going to step up? 7.5 points last year, 3 assists, 37% from the field, 32 from 3. I think he makes that jump this year.
Now I will hit on this, guys. If you followed us last year, season 1, if you will, Fred had a couple of those guys. There's Jaylen Brown, there's Lou Dort, but for some reason he was very, very swooned towards Malachi Flynn. He's always been a huge Malachi Flynn guy. Now I will say Malachi Flynn to me has a little bit of Fred VanVleet. Like he's just a small guard that can score. And you look around in that they already have Fred VanVleet. They had Kyle Lowry. Now you bring in Malachi Flynn. Please tell me who in the world on that backcourt is going to guard? Malachi Flynn can't guard.
He'll learn.
I guess. And if you're predicting a boom, you're seeing potential signs of. I think he can be a 15, 20 point scorer.
But I mean, they got defenders to help him out. I mean, they got OG Anunoby who could be one of those guys who makes that jump. He's super long defender, 3-and-D guy. But I like Malachi Flynn, especially with Kyle Lowry out. I mean, you have Goran Dragic to fight with those minutes, but I mean,
and I got 2 guys, and I'm surprised that you didn't mention either. And I kind of wanted to push.
Well, I didn't want to put Lou Dort in there because he's already a superstar. So
yeah, and one guy I want to push back on is Jaren Jackson Jr. Listen, Jaren Jackson Jr. for that Grizzly team last season, Jonas Valanciunas, we kind of think of him as a brute down low, when in reality he kind of hangs out around the 3-point line a lot more than people think. Like he now they made that trade, and now they bring in Steven Adams. Steven Adams will not stand behind the 3-point line. He is going to be inside, requiring teams to have a plan. And Jaren Jackson Jr. has the ability, and I think this is where GMs kind of are like, okay, we can see this happening. Jaren Jackson Jr. can hit the outside jump shot. He can force it a lot at times, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is a capable 3-point shooter. Now they have the right big, and you'll see how high I am on the Grizzlies here in a little bit. I love this team that they've built out there. They've got some Bulldogs, and Jaren Jackson Jr. can boom. I don't want to hear negativity towards Jaren Jackson Jr. That dude can defend the rim at a high level. He can move. He can shoot. He's everything you want in a 4 in the new NBA. So I wanted to push back a little bit on you there. Jaren Jackson Jr.
Who's leading that team? Who's your captain?
Morant.
No.
All right. Anyway, my 2 guys, I wanted to point out.
If anybody, it's Dillon Brooks, vocal leader.
Stop. And again, another Bulldog. Like, this team is built extremely well. But anyway, Ja Morant being at 5 is ludicrous. It's ridiculous. If you're going to have him on the list, do not put him below Anthony Edwards, please. For the love of God, stop with this.
Anthony Edwards, bro.
Anthony Edwards is cool. He can score. He's cool.
He reminds me a lot of Andrew Wiggins.
let's pump the brakes on Anthony Edwards. 2, LaMelo Ball. Can we stop for a second and stop acting like this kid doesn't exist? Like I
think everybody just expects him to be like
exactly. But at the same time, when you're talking about a guy to boom, I mean, it's not like his rookie campaign was so spectacular that he's already at this all-star level. Like, no, this kid, the sky is the limit for LaMelo Ball. Like, this guy's passing ability is something we haven't seen out of a prospect in a really long time. LaMelo Ball and I was high on LaMelo Ball last year. I got a lot of hate on this podcast for how high I was on LaMelo Ball. Like, I ranked him over a lot of guys. We did the top 10 point guards, and everybody thought I was ludicrous adding this guy into it. But guys, the Hornets are a team to watch out for because of LaMelo Ball. He gets this team going. He moves. They run. They're exciting. They're announcers all over social media. Like, LaMelo Ball. Watch out for him, fellas. And then arguably one of my favorite guards in the NBA that gets no love is DeJounte Murray. Murray.
I thought about putting him on
everything you want in a guard. 6'5", long, athletic, defends, can score the basketball at a very good clip. I'm pretty sure he averaged like 17.5 points last year. Like, this dude is a triple threat or a triple double waiting to happen, and can rebound. He can push. He can defend. I'm pretty sure last season he had a game where he had like 8 steals. Like, dude, this guy he anticipates well. Dude, he's unbelievable. If you guys,
what can the Spurs do with that though? I mean, they're not a playoff team, I don't think.
I mean,
they got gold medal winning Keldon Johnson up there.
They got some guys, but DeJounte Murray, man, he's ready to take that next step. DeMar out. Like, these guys are out. There's no longer these vets that you feel like, okay, we have to give the ball to DeMar here because he's our guy. It's like, no, now you are the guy. Keldon, you're the guy. You know,
I'd like to see DeJounte shoot over 40% from three, or at least 35% from three.
Yeah,
I don't know what he shot last year, but I knew he's never been an elite shooter.
I think it was hot, like a mid-30s.
We shall check.
Yeah, look it up real quick because I'm actually curious now.
Because he's never been a really, elite shooter, but
dude, I'm telling you, people.
Yeah, he shot 31% last year.
31. He gets it up to 36, 37. I'm a happy camper.
I mean, his rookie year, he shot 38. So I mean,
he's a capable shooter. His mid-range jump shot's beautiful. And if you guys don't have, like, if you guys have League Pass, which I know me and Fred will, the Spurs, just because of like guys like Keldon, Vassell, then you got DeJounte Murray. They brought in a couple interesting pieces. We'll get into that a little bit later. But dude, I'm so high on DeJounte Murray. He's my breakout candidate. If I had to put a number one, my guy to look out for, DeJounte Murray.
I got an honorable mention.
Number one guy, look out for him.
I'm gonna go. Malachi Flynn will be my number one, but my honorable mention is gonna be Matisse Thybulle on Philadelphia.
Thybulle. I'm not high on that 76er team, man. Now,
I don't like 76ers either, but I really like Thybulle.
I think this is a good segue into our playoff prediction here. Reports just came out from Woj and Shams. It was a dual agreement here out of nowhere, where it looks like sides are starting with the 76ers. And
so strange.
It's looking like he will return to Philly. Now, as Fred kind of alluded to, super strange.
I made my playoff list before that came out, so I'm sticking
5 days ago. Not even 5 days ago. 3 days ago, this guy hated Philadelphia, never wanted to step foot in the building. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, hey, we'll come back. I think it's a more money-driven move here by Ben Simmons in his camp. Money hit the fan. Little man got a little too big for his britches, didn't want to hold out.
There's no way nobody wanted him. Like, through the trade. Like, he's good. Like, he's a quality basketball player. I'd want him running my team.
I think where a lot of teams, Philly has all the control in this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, dude has 4 years left on his contract. Yeah. Like, it's not like one of those situations where it's a year left, 2 years even. The dude has to play 4 more years. It's not like he's going to hold out for 2 years. You know,
I'd like to see him traded. I mean, he's an elite defender. I mean, he's an elite playmaker.
Very good.
Have they ever tried him at the 4? Like, maybe don't.
Him and Joel can't coexist. And after this, Ben Simmons is not a guy that's going to go out of his way and apologize to all these guys for what he's done.
To Joel doesn't even like him. You can tell Joel doesn't even like him.
And now they brought in Drummond. Like, what are you going to do? Like, floor spacing is just like non-existent.
Tobias Harris is the best player on that team.
Who is?
Tobias Harris.
Dude, I love Tobias Harris. Dude,
Joel needs a stud.
Yeah, but I love Tobias Harris. Now,
he's like I said,
great segue. We'll just go to our Eastern Conference. We're going to go 1 through 10. If there's a certain team you want to hit on, or if I have a question, I'll ask you.
Sure.
While we go through. You can. How do you want to do this? Do you just want to go 1 to 10, 10 to 1?
Let's go 10 to 1. Let's go 10 to 1. Let's work our way up.
You want to go back and forth? Like,
let's go 10, 10.
Or you go.
Or you want to go just straight east? We'll go back and forth. We'll start with 10. All right.
Who's your 10 seed?
I got the Toronto Raptors at the 10.
Okay.
I think Pascal's doable. Like I said, I think OG makes a significant jump. Malachi Flynn, Fred VanVleet, guys like that. I really like the Toronto Raptors roster. I don't think they're an elite team. Obviously, they lost their two best players over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not the biggest on Pascal. But I mean, I think he's
on Siakam.
Yeah, I've never been a big Pascal Siakam guy, but I think that roster is decent enough to get them a 10 seed.
And that was the Raptors at 10. I have the Hornets at 10. It's just one of those teams that I think could sneak in to end the year. Like I said, I mean, I've already kind of sung the praises of LaMelo Ball leading that team. They signed Kelly Oubre, a solid signing for that young bunch. Miles Bridges, You got rid of Devontae Graham, which I think was huge because now you can run LaMelo and Scary Terry 1 and 2. That's your 1 and 2 moving forward. I'm pretty sure Gordon Hayward's still on the team.
Yeah.
And they got Miles Bridges, Kelly Oubre has little small ball fours. They finally got off that Bismack Biyombo contract.
Oof.
PJ Washington, their small ball lineup could be legit. Like, and you can make fun of it all you want, but you could put PJ at the 5 and then run Miles Bridges or Oubre at the 4, Gordon Hayward out there, and then you have Scary Terry and LaMelo. Man, I just
think they're a little too young right now. I think they need maybe a year or two more to develop.
Where I kind of see them in the Grizzly role, sneaking into a play-in, maybe stealing a win from a team that you wouldn't really see, like another team that could be down there that I'm not going to get into because they're my number 9. But yeah, stealing a win and you're like, holy cow, like that's a huge win. And then they get knocked out, don't make the real playoffs. But yeah, Hornets at 10 for me. Who's your 9?
I got the Indiana Pacers at 9. Love Karis LeVert. Love Sabonis. I just think they're just one of those teams, well coached, that can always fight and find their way into the playoffs. And I think they do it again and sneak into a 9 seed.
I'm not sold on the Pacers. I'm going to go ahead and list it. They are not in my playoffs. Last year, I had them fall out. Like they were like my mid-tier 7-8. Honestly, to me, they're a team that's going to be like the Magic last year at the deadline. Boom. They're going to
Malcolm Brogdon?
sell. Miles Turner, I don't think he finishes a year on the
What about
Pacers.
Duarte? That's your guy.
I love Chris Duarte. That's one of the few great
Isaiah Jackson?
Isaiah Jackson. Dude, trust me, I love
great draft. Holy cow.
But to me, I think Isaiah Jackson will be a great replacement for Miles Turner. But let's not get into that.
Yeah, they need to move him because Isaiah Jackson's going to be a very good pro.
Miles Turner, get him out. He's never wanted to be in Indiana. These guys he's always in trade talks. Poor guy.
He really is.
And Malcolm Brogdon, he's in some trade talks. I think Ben Simmons for Malcolm Brogdon. Don't call people crazy, man. I think he could really help 76ers. But I'm just going to go ahead. My 9 is the 76ers. I think even with Ben that low. Now again, I made this list before. Ben Simmons coming to Philly, but even with the saga, I don't see where their floor spacing comes. I love Tobias Harris, but I just think it's in a city like Philadelphia, you have to be really careful with drama in the team because these fans do not care about you.
No.
Bottom line, they'll boo you off the court no matter if you're the best player in the world, no matter if you're an MVP candidate like Joel Embiid. They'll boo you off the floor. Ben Simmons does not respond well to stuff like that. He'll shut down eventually. You can't have this kind of offseason stuff and not shut down during the season. The fans will – they're already starting F. Ben Simmons chants in Philadelphia at different events. Not a good sign, not a good look. I hate everything about this situation in Philly. That's why I have them at 9.
He's got to be crazy even to be okay with coming back.
Yeah.
He has to know how much hate he's going to get from the locker room and the fans. And the front office. Wow.
2 weeks ago, he had Philly players trying to come and see him, and he shut them off and turned them away.
What's that going to do for a locker room?
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, they're my 9. Who is your 8?
I got my New York Knicks, man. I got the New York Knicks.
At 8?
At 8, man. I just think there's too many better teams in front of them.
Come on.
And I need a year of Kemba. I got to see what he can do there. I really like Evan Fournier. I like that him coming in, of course.
That's so low for me.
Love Julius Randle. I think RJ Barrett's okay. Obadiah Toppin. Obi, my guy, who I think is going to have a good year. Mitchell Robinson's decent. Kevin Knox is still around, whatever. But I like the New York Knicks. Of course, I'm a kind of a slight New York Knicks fan. But just 8, man. I got a lot of better teams in front of them. I'm excited to talk about them as well.
My 8 is the Toronto Raptors. I think they're going to allow, like I said, Pascal.
You think the Raptors are better than the Pacers?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think in terms of name value, no. But in terms of playing the games, I would take the Raptors. Yeah, on paper, the Pacers are a great team. Not great. They're a good team. They should make the playoffs. But to me, they're poorly ran. They always have been. And recently, for a while there, hats off to the Pacers. They're fun to watch, everything else. But more recently, they've had some teams underperform, and you're like, what in the world? Like, this team should be really, really solid. I think this year the wheels kind of start to fall off. New head coach, new front office. I think they're going to want some of their guys out there like Chris Duarte. Great pick. But yeah, this is where my Toronto Raptors slide. They made a couple of good additions with Svi Mikhailuk. I mean, Precious Achua, Goran Dragic, and I mean, Scotty freaking Barnes, my number one prospect going into the draft. Absolutely unbelievable. Long, athletic, can sit down. He's a 6'8" point guard. I
wonder who they're going to have the ball in that. Who they're going to put the ball in.
Scotty Barnes. That's who needs to have the ball in his hands.
Yeah, but Pascal's so ball dominant.
Scotty Barnes, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam. That 4 right there is a solid 4.
Hey, then you throw out Malachi Flynn, boy. Oh,
then you can mess around with Scotty Barnes guarding a 4 on one end and then playing the 1 on the next. And then Pascal can guard a big. I really like the Raptors team. That's why I have them at 8. I think they're well coached. I mean, their coach is unbelievable and they're well ran. I love the Raptors this year. Last year I hated on them. This year I'm more on the love side. Who's your 7 seed?
I got the Atlanta Hawks at my 7. I knew you'd not like that one.
Another year of hating on the Hawks. Does Troy have?
I'm not hating on the Hawks. There's 6 teams that are way better, bro.
Way better?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Explain yourself, because this
might be a hot take. I don't know.
Ludicrous.
I mean, Trae Young, cool. I mean, you get what you get with Trae. John Collins is cool.
Dude just had one of the best playoff runs we've seen in a while.
Hey, Kevin Huerter is cool.
Yeah.
Lou Williams, Clint Capella. I like DeAndre Hunter. Like I said, I mean, the only reason I have him at 7 is just because I think 6 other teams are going to perform better.
No.
That's it.
No, there's not.
Who's your 7?
My 7 is the Boston Celtics. I mean, we're acting like this team got better this offseason.
Doesn't matter. They have Jaylen Brown.
Shut up. They lost Kemba, Tristan Thompson, Evan Fournier, Chris Dunn, and they acquired Moses Brown, which was awesome, and then traded him for, I believe, Josh Richardson, who just had one of the awful years he's had in his career with the Mavericks. Okay. And then in free agency, Ryan Arcidiacono, Enes Kanter, the worst defending big in the league, Garrison Matthews, Juan Morgan, Theo Pinson, and then Dennis Schroeder. These guys are all in with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. It's ridiculous. This team frustrates.
No.
And they brought in Al Horford.
Let's get it right. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I mean,
they brought in Al Horford. Cool. Great locker room guy. But trade Marcus Smart and a couple other young pieces and get another stud in there. It's not that hard. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can be a duo for the ages. And we've been saying it for years. Go all in with those two for the love of God. I'm a Laker fan. I don't want to see the Celtics good, but by God, it's not that hard. Stop settling for mediocrity. Jason Tatum is unbelievable, can be a top 5 player in the NBA. Jaylen Brown could be a top 15 player in the NBA. You can have one of the greatest duos.
15?
Come on, man.
Wow, come on.
One of the greatest duos in the league, and yet you settle for mediocrity. It's ridiculous. They're the 7 seed for me. Sure. Who's your 6 seed?
I got the Boston Celtics.
That's where you threw the Celtics.
I got the Boston Celtics, man. What can I say? Jaylen Brown. Smartest guy in the NBA. IQ-wise. It's a fact. Cal Berkeley kid. Jason Tatum's cool, I guess. He's a great number 2 to him. I do agree with you, though. I wish they would have done a little bit more in the offseason. But, I mean, I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, in all seriousness, are good enough to make it 6 seed. It just is what it is.
But if one goes down.
I mean, if Jason Tatum goes down, we're cool because Jaylen Brown don't carry the squad. Because look what happened last year. Jaylen Brown got hurt and the wheels fell off. Am I wrong?
Oh, my God.
All-star.
Actually, Marcus Smart was the first guy to go down.
Hey,
if I want to
all-star,
check you there.
What about that all-star, though?
Yeah, he wasn't in your boom conversation. I mean, come on, man. You're a huge Jaylen Brown guy.
He's already boomed. What? He's an all-star last
Come
year.
Come on.
He's already boomed. That's an obvious answer. If I wanted to say boom, I'd be like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, De'Aaron Fox. Like, these guys are already good. Like,
I got you. All right. My 6 seed, the winners of the offseason, the Chicago Bulls. I mean, they brought in guys that can absolute Alex Caruso, and let me have a moment here. and tell people how good Alex Caruso is. Now, people think he's a meme for Laker fans. This dude just is good at basketball. And I think people are starting to realize that now, granted, it's just preseason and he's playing really, really well. This dude's an elite passer. He's so smart and knowledgeable about the game. He's been around great vets his whole career. I'm really excited to watch this Bulls team, the Bulls team season. Nikola Vucevic, I'm a huge fan of his. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, my guy. I love Lonzo Ball. I think they're the winners of the offseason. They also brought in Derrick Jones Jr. They signed Tony Bradley, Stanley Johnson, a couple filling guys, and Elise Johnson, who actually had a really good year with the Brooklyn Nets. And they didn't lose anybody too notable other than, I guess Lauri Markkanen and Thaddeus Young are like the two that you can kind of say.
I like Thad Young, but
they lost. The Bulls are my 6th seed. I think they escaped the play-in. I think it's a really late push between the Celtics and the Bulls about who's going to be in the play-in. And I think the Bulls end up pulling it out just because I love their team. Billy Donovan's a heck of a coach. He's a lot better than I thought he was. I was not high on him coming to the NBA, but he's done a really good job adjusting. I'm a huge fan of this Bulls team going into next year. Who's your 5 seed?
I got the Philadelphia 76ers.
Do you have the Bulls in the playoffs?
I do.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
We'll get to that team.
I was just making sure. We were kind of pushing up towards
I'm high on the Bulls, man.
I love it. I tried telling people about the Hawks last year. Nobody listened to me. And then I look like a genius now. And the Bulls are the Hawks.
What about the Jaylen Brown slander I got? Huh? All-star.
Yeah.
Check it.
So you went 76ers here.
Yeah.
Is that lower than you would like to put them?
This is before I even knew Ben Simmons was coming back. Joel Embiid stays healthy. He's an MVP.
MVP candidate.
Tobias Harris is a stud. I really like Thibault. If Ben Simmons comes back and they can mend whatever's going on there, they'll perform and win games.
They did last year. They did last year. Yeah.
So I think they have great surrounding pieces around him. I really like Tyrese Maxey. Shake Milton's still there. Yeah. Like Shake. So
yeah, they got some nice young pieces.
Yeah. So really like 76ers. Who did they draft? They drafted somebody decent. I can't remember who they drafted, but somebody decent. You go ahead. I'll look for that. But yeah, I got 76ers.
All right. My 5 seeds the Brooklyn Nets. Losing potentially Kyrie Irving for your home games and majority of California games will absolutely burn this team. They already deal with injuries. They're an older team. Now, I will say I want to highlight the Patty Mills and Paul Millsap signings. Great signings. Those are 2 very, very good NBA players. I love Patty Mills. The signing or the drafting of Cameron Thomas, pre-combine, if you look back on the TikTok, he was my top 3 prospect going in. He
fell too.
Yeah, he fell really, really hard. I love Cameron Thomas. Thomas, yes. Incredible offensive player. He's exactly what they need, especially with Kyrie, like I said, the vaccination stuff, or whatever the case may be. In my opinion, it's a team game. Do what you have to do for your team. You get paid millions of dollars to be out there. Be out there for your guys. Stop with all the nonsense. Anywho, off my soapbox there. I'm not going to go too in depth with the Nets. I just think they're an older team that has a very, very great NBA player in Kevin Durant that will absolutely will them to a few games, but he's going to take some games off per usual. James Harden will get hurt per usual. And yeah, Kevin Durant might regret not re-signing with the Warriors. But did you find that 76ers draft pick?
Yeah, they got Isaiah Joe, which I'm a big fan of. Aaron Henry from Michigan State. Another one of those I think can be a 3-and-D guy. And Charles Bassey and Jaden Springer. Jaden Springer was the one. Jaden Springer from Tennessee, elite athlete. I like Charles Bassey.
Summer League, Jaden Springer had his downfalls. I remember one game in particular, he hit like 3 3-pointers off the side of the backboard. Really, really one of those welcome to the NBA moments.
And they brought in Georgie's Niang too, Niang's, and I think
I like Niang.
Yeah.
Great NBA player.
Yep. All right. Seth Curry. Wow. We haven't even talked about him.
Who's your 4 seed?
This is where I put Brooklyn.
This is where you slid Brooklyn. I can see them
because if Kyrie comes back, as plays, and all 3 of them can stay healthy, you can put them in the top 2. Kevin Durant is, I think, best scorer in the NBA. I still won't say he's the best player in the NBA as long as LeBron James is breathing, but that's just me. So, but yeah, I got Brooklyn there. I I'd like to see them hopefully get a top 2 seed. It'd be fun to see all three of them stay healthy and play. I mean, just as an NBA fan, basketball fan in general, that'd be awesome. I really like Nicholas Claxton, a kid from Georgia, came out a couple years ago. I think he's a elite center, and I hope he can, elite for a young guy. I hope he can sneak into that starting lineup and do some things, or at least come off the bench with big minutes. So yeah. I got Brooklyn.
Well, this is where I put the New York Knicks.
Okay.
Now, I'm pretty sure, weren't they the 4 seed this year?
Yeah, because the Hawks were the 5. I didn't even talk about Emmanuel quickly. Dang.
Stud. Yeah. The 4 seed Knicks. Now let's discuss now why I have them so high. They're a team that already was a 4 seed, like I said, a season ago. Who'd they lose, Troy? Reggie Bullock. Yeah, he's solid. Jared Harper. Frank Ntilikina didn't even play. Alfred Payton. Norvell Powell. Theo Pinson. It's like, oh, okay. Who'd they gain? Kemba Walker. Oh, okay. That's pretty solid. That's a good guy to have. Dwayne Bacon. Another solid guy. How about Evan Fournier? Another really solid guy. A weirdo.
Great summer.
Yeah. And then via the draft, they brought in Quentin Grimes. Love Quentin Grimes. Rokas, whoever. Miles McBride, another great guy that fell. Good locker room guy. He won't see minutes over IQ, Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker. Great guy to learn from, though, are those 3 that we just named. And then Jericho Sims, a guy that you really, really like. Athleticism out the roof. Can play above the rim.
He's very raw. If somebody can hone in on him. Ooh.
The Knicks, like you said, man, they're a deep team, well coached, well ran. They do a great job. I love the Knicks this year.
I just think the East is so good. Like, I know like a couple years ago it was like the East are terrible, but now it's like, holy cow. Like,
it's loaded. It's absolutely loaded. But the Knicks, to me, again, it's like the Hawks. Why would they fall off? You know, like these are two teams that are young and upcoming. It's not like they're veteran teams that are going to have guys that want to sit. Like, no, Julius Randle is ready to be like, my season wasn't a fluke. I'm going to keep going. And like the Robinson kid, he wasn't even healthy for majority of last year. So it's like he's going to be ready to go. I love this Knicks team with Kemba Walker at the helm. I think it's a great situation for all parties involved. And I really like
Kemba win because, I mean, he's never done it. I mean, I'm not trying to slight the guy, but I mean, he's been in a pretty bad situation. So I mean, I hope the Knicks are better than the 8.
They got good pros. Fournier and Walker, 2 very, very good pros.
Yep. I agree.
And I'm excited for the Knicks team. Another league pass watch right there. The New York Knicks, fun team. You get to hear Mike Breen almost every game. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Who's your 3 seed, man?
I got the Miami Heat.
We agree on one.
And you can see who I've hoisted up. But yeah, I mean, Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Victor Oladipo, PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo, Markieff Morris, Duncan Robinson. Do I need to continue? I mean, they brought in Marcus Garrett. Javonte Smart can be decent. Omar, Vert 7. I really liked him.
Really good summer league. Really good.
Kid from NC State, transferred to Georgetown. Always high on him. Dwayne Dedman's a good pro. Udonis Haslem, locker room guy.
Markieff, but I mean, PJ Tucker, Kyle Lowry.
I've never been a big fan of Kyle Lowry.
But he's a jam.
But, I mean, it's Kyle Lowry. And I mean, they got
dudes, man. They got dudes.
Tyler Hero has looked great this preseason. I hope he can do stuff. I think he's going to come off the bench.
Put on some weight.
Hey, you have a kid. Apparently, you're just a baller, bro. You have a child. You're hooping.
It's facts.
So, and of course, Bam Adebayo, man. What else can we say about him?
Now, the Lakers won a championship 1 year ago today. And who do they play? They play the Miami Heat. And who was that leader that we all pointed to? Jimmy Butler. And you look back on the Raptors championship run, who is a leader you could point to on that team? Because I can tell you who it wasn't, Kawhi Leonard. But who was the leader? Kyle Lowry. Now you pair Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry, 2 of the greatest leaders in.
Do you think they'll butt heads?
No, God, no. These 2 are veterans now. It's not like they're 2 up and coming stars. Kyle Lowry's what, 35? Like, dude's about to hang him up here soon. And
where does Victor Oladipo fit in that equation?
Exactly. I mean, and they got Oladipo. I completely forgot they brought back Oladipo. Now I will say Kendrick Nunn is a guy that I would like to see them retain.
Loss.
Yeah,
but I think he's going to perform well wherever he went. I forgot where he went, but I know where. I'll talk about a kid I love on that team. We both know who I'm talking about, but we'll get to them later.
He came home. My 3 seed is also the Heat. If you didn't understand, me and him agree for the first time in the video. That's a
good thing.
It is a good thing. And number 2, who's your 2 seed?
I got the Chicago Bulls. They're my Phoenix Suns.
No!
They're like they remind me a lot of the Phoenix Suns. You know what I mean?
Oh, they give you the Phoenix Suns vibes.
How they snuck in and got that high seed last year. Yeah, man. Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, who's a freak athlete. Who knew? Actually, I knew he could float. But yeah, man, I hope this year Lonzo Ball gets his love, man. I pray this kid just breaks out. He
had a good preseason. Shot looks incredible.
I wanted to put him in my like boom guy because it's like it's gonna happen. I mean, when you said LaMelo is the best passer to come out of the draft in years, I think the best one before him was Lonzo coming out of the draft. It was like, oh, this dude's an elite.
Boys know how to pass.
So, I mean, and Vucevic is probably one of the most underappreciated guys. I know you're really high on Vucevic, as you should. I think if he can develop and kind of be that Sabonis, that Jokic, that can score around the rim, shoot it, and just dish it to these guys. Oh my!
That's like the only weakness when you look at him. The defensive side of the ball, of course, he's not a rim protector, but it's also like passing. He's an underrated passer, but he's not where you want him to be because, like with this team, you could really run some key high-low sets with him on the elbow, and because he can
score everywhere
around, dude. Yeah, he can knock that shot down, and now you got LaVine, Caruso, DeMar like diving, and Lonzo sneaky athletic too. I mean, this team.
It's gonna be weird. I think they may start out slow. Because I don't know how they're going to work together. I don't know where Zach LaVine's maybe their best player. And I don't even know where he fits in this. Who are you going to give the ball to?
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan's a high ball dominant guy.
Now I will say I can see DeMar kind of taking a step back.
I hope he does. I hope he's the vocal leader. I really hope he embraces that vocal leadership role.
I think he can have a season like Jimmy Butler did. Whenever
look who he was just coached by. I mean, Greg Popovich. I mean, if he can hone in some of that stuff and bring it to Chicago, that team's gonna be tough.
It's a basketball town that's hungry for a great team.
They're gonna be fun to watch.
Yes, they're another NBA
really fun
must watch. And
Patrick Williams. I mean, a young guy who doesn't have to be forced into a role so early. He could actually develop a little bit. They brought in Ayo Dosunmu from Illinois.
They
Kobe White, I mean, still developing.
Derrick Jones dudes, Jr. Man. They got dudes.
Jr. Like I know you harped on. I'm making sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Matt Thomas can shoot it. You know what I'm saying? And Daniel Toro from Minnesota is cool. So I'm high on the Bulls team. I think they can make that Suns jump. I hope. They're all those guys are just likable guys on that team. Like I've never seen someone say, "I don't like DeMar." And Zach LaVine's so cool to watch. Like, so excited for them. Sorry to talk so much on the Bulls, but really like them.
No, I love it. And this is where I put the Atlanta Hawks, my 2 seed.
That'd be something, man.
I mean, who do they lose? Again, this is where I go off season. Who did they lose? Chris Dunn, Bruno Fernando, Tony Snell. That's who they lost on their Eastern Conference Finals run, right? Yeah. And who did they gain? To me, they had one of the sneaky good drafts in terms of value. Jalen Johnson at 20. Come on. That dude before he left Duke was a top 10 prospect. I love Jalen Johnson with this team. With this team. Let me highlight that. With this team. Also, Sharif Cooper, 48. I mean, the value is there. Regardless of how we both feel about Sharif Cooper, the value is there. Had a solid summer league, really good passer. He has a great feel of the game. Now he just needs to stop shooting so much and realize what he's about. And that's a Rondo role. Feed everybody. Stop worrying about yours and feed. And then also sneaky good NBA player, DeLon Wright. He had a great season on the Kings during their little rebuilding phase. I think he went to the Pistons for a little bit too. I'm
sad because last year I was all over the Kings, and this year I'm like, can you do something? Like, I just want to kick them. Hey, do something. Tyrese Halliburton's cool.
Yeah, and
he's got boom potential.
They also acquired, Timothy Luau-Cabarrot, who's a very, very good knockdown shooter.
Had a great medal run with France.
Gorgie Jang. And then, I mean, Jahlil Okafor, I mean, they didn't really acquire anybody through free agency, but they did a really good job drafting. And then I love the DeLon Wright get. So the Hawks, my 2 seed, didn't lose anybody significant.
Very well coached.
Bring back DeAndre Hunter. He completely missed like their Eastern Conference Finals run. Somebody that gets swept under the rug a lot, kind of like the guy me and Fred were talking about earlier, like a guy that'll be around for a really, really long time doing 3-and-D work, doing the dirty work. I love him.
Where did Jay Crowder go?
Jay Crowder?
He's
a Phoenix.
He's still a Sun? Okay.
Yeah, he signed a 3-year deal last year.
Good for him. Okay. I was just making sure.
So Atlanta Hawks, my 2 seed, and I think we both are in agreement on our 1 seed. It's the defending champions, the defending, reigning, undisputed Milwaukee Bucks. Well deserved. They're a great
Drew
team.
Holiday.
Yeah, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, the boys. I hated on Giannis a lot.
Back-to-back MVP.
He's a great talent, man, and somebody that you need. And I mean, they added George Hill, Rodney Hood, Ojale, Grayson Allen, and they drafted foreigners in the draft.
What's his face? Els Downs had a good preseason.
Now they did lose PJ Tucker, but I mean,
he's gonna be so good in Miami. Oh my goodness.
Whatever. I mean, they lost Jeff Teague. Whatever. I mean, whatever. But I mean, you gain Rodney Hood. That's a guy, man. That's a guy.
And Jordan Awards had a good preseason, but
yes, Milwaukee Bucks 1 seed. We're not even really. I mean, they're just set it and forget it. They're good for 60 wins a year. I mean, we've just come to expect it and understand.
So well coached. I know he gets a lot of hate, but man,
he does.
He did it.
We're gonna move right over to the Western Conference. 10-1 again. You can go ahead.
I'm gonna go with the New Orleans Pelicans for number 10. Too low, Troy says. Too low.
Ew.
You don't like him there?
I don't like him anywhere.
Oh, okay. Zion, Brandon Ingram, Jackson Hayes. I hope he develops. Jonas Valanciunas, Nickeil Alexander is decent. Josh Hart, Kira Lewis. Hopefully, he takes that next step. Acquire Devontae Graham. I just think they're good, man. I don't think they had a crazy good draft. Have
you seen Zion Williamson recently?
I have not. Is he looking athletic?
He's looking like he's been athletically searching for food in every outlet of the New Orleans area.
Winning Gabriel is cool.
Zion, man, to me, they acquired a great big. Jonas Valanciunas, great for that team.
Good.
He could space the floor. He can go 18 and 18. But I just don't understand the love for, and I love Brandon Ingram.
I don't.
Who's their leader? You can rely on Zion for maybe 50 regular season games. Outside of that, I mean, they lost Lonzo, Eric Bledsoe, Steven Adams, who was a leader for them. Like he was a leader for them. Like they brought in Devontae Graham. Cool. That's a okay.
I just think there's have so much talent. I mean, I don't know.
Trey Murphy though, great draft. Great draft.
Yeah.
Herbert Jones.
They brought in Jose Alvarado from Georgia Tech. Decent.
Yeah, I mean, they had an okay, I guess. I reckon I may sleep on them a little bit. My 10 is the Spurs. I think they sneak in to the play-in. They brought in Zach Collins. You know how I feel about Zach Collins.
I can't stand Zach Collins.
Dude, during the bubble, these guys were acting like Zach Collins was an all-NBA player. Keep in mind, guys, the Blazers don't have Zach Collins. It's like they haven't had him all year. They've been just fine.
Dude just sitting on a bench with a suit on. They're just hyping him up.
Hey, they got Bryn Forbes, Al-Farouq Aminu, a guy, Thaddeus Young. I think he fits into the Spurs system really, really well. Doug McDermott. And I think the highest reach of the draft, but somebody that could develop well for them, Joshua Primo, the youngest player in the class.
That was wild to me.
Yes. But I have the Spurs slipping in at 10 here. Who's your number 9?
I got Memphis Grizzlies.
So
I see you do not like them at 9.
No.
Okay. They're decent.
First take of the season. I'd be willing to bet $100 that they don't finish at 9.
John Morant, I really like Dylan Brooks. Jaren Jackson Jr. is really good. I don't know how I feel about Zaire Williams yet. I'd like to see him kind of develop a little bit more. I think he's extremely raw, but can't teach that athleticism. I really like Kyle Anderson. Xavier Tillman is decent down the stretch there at the end. Anthony Melton's good. Tyus Jones, you know what you're getting from him. So be interesting to see. I just don't think they're ready yet. I think they're missing a couple pieces. Steven Adams is a good pickup, but I think they're just too young right now. See how they can go.
Too young. You've been harping on that, man. We're acting like it's not the time for young guys to step up and be like,
It may be, but veteran and leadership win championships.
My 9 is the Los Angeles Clippers.
Wow.
No Kawhi Leonard for majority of the year. It's looking like he has a chance to return. And I mean, let's quit acting like these guys are going to do what they did in the playoffs. I mean, Reggie Jackson got himself a lot of money, and I respect him. They had a really good draft, but it looking like Jason Preston also going to miss majority of the start of the season. He's not looking to be good to go until about January, February. They lost Patrick Beverley, and I can say what I want about him, but he's the heartbeat and the soul of that team, has been for years. They brought in Eric Bledsoe. Cool. Whatever. Kentucky guy. Cool, I guess. Again, whatever. Now Keon Johnson, great pickup, great value get at 21. Keon Johnson, athletic, but he's not NBA ready. So let's pump the brakes on that. They brought in Justice Winslow. Cool. Isaiah Hartenstein and Harry Giles. I mean, their offseason was very underwhelming for a team that will not have Kawhi Leonard for majority of their year. Are we going to hope and pray that Paul George is the MVP candidate that he once was, or maybe is, I guess. But to me, in this NBA, in order to be a top 6 team, you have to have 2 guys that you can go to and be like, we are. And without Kawhi, I don't see this team performing. Now, if something comes out somewhere, somehow, and Kawhi's ready to rumble by December, which is not going to happen. But if it happens, cool. They'll be a top 5 team in the West. But without Kawhi, I'm out. I'm out on them. They're the 9 seed. Just because I do think that they're better than some of the mediocre teams, but a team like the Kings could come in and absolutely ruin them. Because if De'Aaron Fox steps up to all-star MVP level, and then you get the guys around him to play like Halliburton, Davion Mitchell, you have potential brewing there. But who's your 8?
That's where I put the Clippers.
Clip City?
Like you said, no Kawhi. I mean, if Kawhi was there, it'd be a different story. But like you said, we don't know what version of Paul George we're going to get. If he's playing an MVP level, cool.
And who's the leader? Who's the leader there? That's, Paul George.
Kawhi Leonard and Paul George both aren't
leaders. They don't
and
have
that's fine. They're great basketball players. We're not saying they're not, but there's a difference between a leader and a great basketball player.
Exactly.
And I think, look what happened when the Bucks got Drew Holiday.
Leader.
What happened?
Leader.
So what happened when Phoenix got
Chris Paul?
Devin Booker's not a leader. That's fine. He's an all-star. He's great. Devin Booker, but he probably he's a quiet guy. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be now.
Yeah. Why do you think the Lakers were trying so hard to get Kawhi? He wouldn't have to be the leader. He wouldn't have to be the guy. He could just play off of people. Kawhi's a great player. Don't get us wrong. Do not act like we're not saying Kawhi's a great player. He's just not a great leader.
He's top 10 when he's healthy. Well, I think that may be the problem in Philadelphia. Who's a leader out there?
Exactly.
It'd have to be Tobias Harris.
My 8 is arguably the most mediocre team over the last few seasons. That's the Portland Trailblazers. They continue to find themselves into playing games. I love Chauncey Billups. I love what he brings to the table. But first-year guy with a lot of off-season drama, again, surrounding Damian Lillard, their best player. Is he really locked into this season? Is he not? Who knows? He's a Portland guy through and through. I think CJ McCollum is eventually going to get moved. I love the pickup of Larry Nance Jr. Thought that was a really, really good pickup because he's a defensive-minded, athletic guy. Other than that, very underwhelming offseason. Ben McLemore, Patrick Patterson, Dennis Smith Jr., Tony Snell, and Cody Zeller.
Decent pros. Just decent.
Yeah, just a couple of decent guys. And then they got Greg Brown Jr. in the draft. So, They didn't get better, didn't get worse. I could see them 8 spot. Who's your 7?
That's where I got Portland.
Portland.
I put Portland there. You harped on it, man. I mean,
they're just They've been for years. I was really
every year we're like, you know what? Put them in the top 4. They've got Dame and CJ, but dude, the proof's in the pudding.
They are what they are. They had that one good one.
I respect the world out of Dame for sticking it out in Portland. I do. Get out.
Run.
That's a poorly ran organization. I'm sorry.
Run.
It just is what it is.
Yeah, you are what you are. Proof's in the pudding.
Is Chauncey Billups going to fix that? I don't think so. I like Chauncey. He's cool.
I like Chauncey a lot.
I just don't think he was the guy to. I think they should have brought in a veteran head coach for that situation. But I mean, it didn't work for what's his face. Scott Skiles, was that his name? What it didn't work.
Something like that. Scott something.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, I mean, you harped on their players. It's Portland. That's what I can say. They're my 7.
My 7's the Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
I think that, I mean, with the guys they brought in, I think they had a really, really good offseason. Kuminga falling to 7, steal of the top 7. I mean, him falling to 7 fell right into their lap. He's the perfect player to learn under Draymond Green. Perfect.
Is this saying that Clay won't play this year?
He'll be back. He'll be back eventually. I just think that until he's back, they won't be ready to really get rolling. I love Steph. You know, he's great. Best, honestly, to me, he's like the most loved superstar I have in my heart since Kobe. Like he's like the second guy I've ever loved. Like it's like Kobe, Steph, or like my top 2.
How can you not? I mean,
like if you're a shooter growing up or just a shooter in general, like if you're in high school right now, watch his off the ball, him and Clay both. It's unbelievable. But yeah, without Clay, I mean, they lost Kelly Oubre, Eric Pascal. I think very underrated loss. I understand why they did it. With bringing in Kuminga, you don't really need Pascal. And then Moses Moody, we love him. Otto Porter, great pickup. I may have them too low.
Every time I say Moses Moody, I just think of Kendrick Perkins trying to say his name at the draft.
Yeah, I know. That is hilarious. But yeah, Warriors are my 7. Who's your 6?
That's where I have the Denver Nuggets.
That's where you have the
Nuggets. That's with knowing Jamal Murray not healthy, not having him back just yet. I really like the Nashawn Highland kid that they picked up. Big fan of him. MPJ. Are they still gonna be cool with Bol? I don't know. They're hyping him up because he averages 4 blocks in the preseason. Congratulations. If I had a wingspan of 8'6", I would too. Aaron Gordon's cool, I guess. He can average 12 points. Huge fan of Will Barton. Big fan of Will Barton. I like Jeff Green. I mean, you have the reigning MVP on your team. So, but like I said, no Jamal Murray. I think that hurts them a lot. Besides that, they're pretty much just what I think of with the 4 through 6 seeds, just kind of middle of the pack, good enough to not be in the bottom half, but not good enough to be compete with top dogs. So
yeah,
Denver Nuggets for myself.
My six is the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they're ready to get out of the play-in perspective. I'm all in on John Morant and these guys. I mean, like you said, they have a leader in Dylan Brooks, a guy that, dude, this team just gravitates to him for whatever reason. He's very well loved in that
He's
locker
a dog,
room.
man.
He can defend at an extremely, extremely high level. And again, I mean, you look at the guys they brought in, Steven Adams, Chris Dunn, just other guys that can sit down and guard. They didn't lose anybody too important other than Jonas Valanciunas. But then again, they brought in Steven Adams. Fits more their role in their design. Yeah, I mean, they brought in Sam Muriel. I know you liked him in the draft process. Daniel Otoro and then Zaire Williams and those boys. I really like this Grizzly team to take that next step. A lot of the guys, they didn't bring in anybody that's a game changer per se. Like I would have liked to see them go out and get DeMar. But you know, they brought back the same crew, and I think they're ready to step up. Yep. Who's your 5?
This is where I have the Golden State Warriors.
Okay. I respect that. That's probably where I should have stuck them, right at 5.
Steph Curry, I mean,
flip my 5 and 7.
Steph Curry easily could have won the MVP last year. I mean, dude was putting up crazy numbers. Hopefully Clay comes back and just picks up where he left off before he got injured.
I hope so, man.
Draymond, big Draymond guy, continue to do what he does. I do agree with you.
So much hate for no reason.
He's a vocal leader. I mean, that's their leader. I mean, as good as Steph and Clay are, Draymond Green's that heart and soul guy.
Facts.
So
Facts. Clippers need him. Clippers need him. I'll say it. Clippers need him.
That'd be something right there. But I think we know they're well coached. Steve Kerr's a phenomenal coach. Really well ran organization. I have my thoughts on Andrew Wiggins, but yeah, Golden State at 5.
This is where I select the Nuggets again. You know, they didn't lose anybody. Crazy.
So
I've been harping on that.
So it sounds like we have this
similar unfolding starting to happen. But yeah, the Nuggets are a team that is led by the MVP of the league. And I think he's still hungry to go. I mean, he got so much hate for being the MVP. He didn't get a lot of love. He got the way his season ended was so bizarre, getting kicked out of a playoff game on such a awful call by an official on a MVP. Like, it's like Devin Booker flails and falls out of bounds, and you're going to give the MVP of the league like a flagrant 2 and kick him out of a deciding game? Like, he's the MVP. I don't care what he does. Keep his butt out on the court. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I'm not going to get cry over spoiled milk. It happened, whatever. But the Nuggets at 5. I love Jokic, and hopefully Jamal Murray can come back ready to rumble. Who's your 4?
That's where I put the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
I would have liked to see them do a little bit more in the offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, Luka Doncic, kid's a stud, dude. It may not look like it, the way he moves and whatever, but golly, the brother can score it.
At
dude
will.
I'd like to see him just step up into that leadership role. I think he could possibly be that. I love Tim Hardaway Jr. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is an elite scorer. I think he gets it done at a high level.
He's their number 2.
Yeah, because Kristaps, why is he still on your team? Dwight Powell's cool. I love Tyrell Terry, the kid out of Stanford. I think that's he's great. I'd love to see him. And then Dorian Finney-Smith. I think he can really
great pro.
Yeah, 3-and-D guy. You know what you get out of Jalen Brunson. He's been a quality backup point guard for them. Willie Cauley-Stein. I'd like to see how Josh Green from Arizona, see how he develops, and you got Boban, man.
This is where I stuck the Suns. It's just one of those. I don't think they take a step back. Don't get me wrong, but Chris Paul's aging. Devin Booker, like you said, great all-star level player, but the West is loaded. This top 4 and 5 are loaded.
They went to East too, man. It's just gonna be a good year of basketball.
It's a great year of basketball. I mean, who'd they lose? They didn't lose anybody too important. They brought in Landry Shamet, great ad, in my opinion, just an off-ball guy that can knock down the shot. JaVale McGee, great locker room guy. And just like Elfrid Payton, another good defensive point guard that can they lost Javon Carter, bring in Elfrid Payton. You get experience and you get length out of that swap. So I like the Suns team, really, really do. I just think that they're due for a little bit of regression because they're guys that are out there a lot. Outside of Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton are just older guys, and they're going to need some days off. And it is what it is. Outside of like Cameron Johnson and those boys. But that's where I slid them. Who's your number 3?
That's where I put Phoenix.
That's where you put the Suns.
I got Phoenix at 3, yeah. Love DeAndre Ayton. We could.
Now there is some contract.
Yeah, I was about to ask you if he signed it, so I guess he hasn't.
Nope.
Cameron Payne's good. Jalen Smith, the kid out of Maryland, they drafted a couple years ago at 10. I thought was a reach at 10 for them. He's decent. See if he can develop any. And you've harped on there, Landry Shamet. I think Chandler Hutchinson, kid out of Boise State, came out a couple years ago, is cool. Abdul Nader as a decent pro coming from the Jazz.
Yep.
So we'll see. JaVale McGee's always, lighthearted. Love have that guy in the locker room. Biggest cheerleader on the bench when he's not in the game.
I love JaVale.
And Jay Crowder, man. You put him up there with PJ Tucker for a guy who's a winner. Get it done. 3D. So
my 3 is the Los Angeles Lakers. I think it's going to take some time. I could see them in the Suns. You've kind of seen it in preseason. They brought in Russell Westbrook. They brought in Melo, Ariza, Bazemore. They brought in a lot of really, really good guys. Kendrick Nunn, Malik Monk.
Do you like the Lakers, by the way? I don't know.
Yeah, you can't.
Are you a fan?
I'm a huge Laker fan. Will watch every single game. Won't miss one single game, and I pride myself on that every year. But they're just a team, man, that can go through it early. Again, roster turnover is unbelievable. Every year it seems like we have to get used to a new group, especially with a guy like LeBron who wants to be the best every year. So it's a lot of flipping and flopping with him getting older. But Anthony Davis, he's primed and ready to go. Put on some weight, looks absolutely incredible. Put on some muscle, I should say. Looks primed, ready to go for a big season. He's tired of the haters. They all are. Melo is still an absolute bucket head And Malik Monk with those guys playing off the ball will be incredible. Kendrick Nunn off the bench will be unbelievable. Can't wait to watch this Laker team. Now, they will be without Taylor Horton-Tucker, it seems, for a little bit of time. Had a little bit of a thumb issue. And this is where I wish they would have spent a little bit extra money. They could have gone over the cap and brought in Alex Caruso, but they didn't for whatever reason. I'm not in the office. I don't get to make those calls, but I would have made sure Alex Caruso was a Los Angeles Laker for a long time. But again, not going to cry over spoiled milk, even though I really, really want to. Love Alex Caruso, but Lakers at 3. Who's your number 2?
I have the Los Angeles Lakers.
That's where you have the Lakers.
Yep. Anthony Davis, LeBron James. I mean, 2 top 5 guys.
Statement.
I mean, you harped on them. It's your team. You can talk about them all day. I mean, those two.
How do you think Russell Westbrook will correlate?
It's going to be interesting.
I think LeBron will be able to take his foot off the gas.
I don't know who I can compare him to like what he needs to be for that team. I don't know. I mean, just
Rondo.
Just who? I don't
like last 2020 Rondo. Let's think about it. In the playoff run, 40% 3-point shooter, played valuable minutes. He needs to get 10 plus assists. Don't worry about your field goals. Don't worry about scoring all the time. He just needs to do what he does, but maybe up the shooting splits. That's all.
Can you put breaks on a thoroughbred though? I mean, can you just be like Russ? Whoa, Nelly.
But can you put breaks on LeBron James? Yes.
LeBron knows. Is different.
LeBron knows what needs to happen, and
LeBron will let him. I mean, LeBron James will be like, "Hey, Russ, hey man, I'm the captain of the sheep."
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Now, you said you wanted to hit on a particular guy on this team. Who is it?
That's Malik Monk, man. I might be a homer. Call me a homer. I don't care. He gets his head straight. That dude can score from anywhere.
Yeah, staying out of trouble is going to be a big thing for him, but he's in a great locker room.
You put some control on him. That dude can score it. He'll be so. I don't know if I guess he'll come off the bench. Like you bring him off the pine for a little scoring outbreak. Whew.
Yeah,
come on and look who he's got setting him up.
Great passers all around.
You know what I mean?
My 2 seed is the Utah Jazz, and again, just a great team. Get it done every year. They brought in Eric Pascal. Love that. Jared Butler. Love that. Did you forget the Utah Jazz?
No, you have. Okay. You haven't said Dallas yet.
They brought in Hassan Whiteside. I think they've done a great job bringing this team together. I love the Utah Jazz. They are my 2 seed. Who's your 1?
The Utah Jazz.
My number 1 is the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, that's fun. Can you explain?
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready because I don't see it. But
Magic Doncic is primed and ready to go.
Did you just compare him to Magic Johnson?
He's better than Magic. Did a cat sneak out the door?
I thought I was the hot take guy.
Let's
Dallas at 1. They didn't do anything. Okay.
Let's discuss. They brought in Moses Brown.
Oh, let's discuss.
They brought in Moses Brown, and you could say, Troy, what does that matter? Oh, Moses Brown is a rim protecting big. What do they lack? A rim protecting big. That's what they missed last year.
They had it. He didn't do it.
Yeah, but Porzingis wants to play more on the perimeter. He will get that chance with Moses Brown. I think Moses Brown is such an underrated guy. When the Celtics got him, I texted one of my buddies, Austin Hensley. Shout out Bass. I know he's going to be watching. Shout out Bass. Love you, kid. But nonetheless, Moses Brown, when he went to the Celtics, I texted him. I said, Bass, that's a great pickup. I'm like, Moses Brown is so underrated when it comes to what he does. He had a 2020 game last year, and people seem to not care about it because he was on the Thunder. That kid's an athletic, young, hungry big man. I love that signing. They didn't draft anybody. But again, who'd they lose? Josh Richardson. He played awful for them. Cap space, eater. They got rid of him, re-signed Tim Hardaway. Lost JJ Redick. Cool. He didn't do anything anyway. Wasn't even healthy. Tyler Bay. Cool. They brought in Reggie Bullock, a great 3-and-D guy, right? And then Frank Ntilikina, a guy that's hungry and ready to rumble. I mean, I love this team. I'm high on them going into the year. Now, it could make me look stupid because I do believe I had the Trailblazers as my 1 seed last year. So
Luka does his thing. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, and
That's just wild. That's cool.
Luka
Cool.
to me, and this is a good segue, is my MVP of the league. Here is our award predictions, brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar.
Coming back as a sponsor. Let's go.
But award predictions, my MVP, Luka Doncic.
Disclaimer: they really aren't a sponsor, but if they're more than welcome, if they want to sponsor us, please do.
Yeah, they're more than welcome, but they really aren't a sponsor. Luka Doncic is my MVP of the league. He's ready to rumble. New coach Jason Kidd. I'm really excited for this team. I love Jared Dudley, a great guy to bring in on their bench. I love the Mavericks this year. I think that they're a team that can step up. I don't think they'll have a good playoff run. I don't want to spoil, look at too much into it, piss Maverick fans off after I, make them excited. But Luka Doncic, MVP of the league for me. Who's your MVP?
Kevin Durant for back-to-back years for me is my prediction.
Stop it.
I think Kevin Durant's just too good.
I agree.
I mean, he averaged 27, 7, and 5 last year, 54% from the field, 45% from three.
Unbelievable.
If he stays healthy, man. Oof.
Him and LeBron must be on some sort of diet, man. That just doesn't.
Tom Brady, I guess all three of them are just hanging out together.
In a group chat, like, hey guys, how you doing?
I mean, that's just proof that people are just built different, bro. Like, I mean, literally, I know it's a cliche saying, but I mean, those guys are just God-given talent. It doesn't matter how often they're in the gym or whatever. I mean, that does go into part of it. They were just meant to hoop. And I think Kevin Durant just hoops. I don't care who's out on the floor there with him. He's going to put up his numbers. So Kevin Durant for me.
Who's your most improved player?
Malachi Flynn of the Toronto Raptors.
Keep that boat going, brother.
7.5 points last year. I think he bumps up to 15, 16 a game, 5 assists. I think that'd be a quad a year.
Opportunity is a big part of most improved player, and he will have plenty.
Yep.
And that's where I slid DeJounte Murray. He's my most improved player of the year. More shot opportunities without DeMar.
And you think he'll go be like 20, 22, 23 points a game?
20. If I had to guess, 23 and a half.
I think I saw he averaged 15 and a half last year, maybe.
Yep, he hovers around 16, 17. I think he'll bump that up to about 23, 24. And I think he's a 6.5, 8.5 assist, 6.5 rebounds, 8.5 assists. And I think he can bump the shooting up to about 50, 55% from the field. Now, the 3-point percentage could be a little low, but he don't take a lot of them, so it doesn't really matter. But DeJounte Murray, he'll lead them to a playoff potential year, and he'll get some love for most improved player. Who's your deep boy?
I got Bam Adebayo, the Miami Heat.
Love that.
I mean, his shot blocking, he only averaged 1 block last year. I think he's due for a lot more than that. For some reason, they take rebounds into account for defense, but he's a 9-rebounder guy. I think he can steal it.
That should go up too.
Yeah. So I'm in, especially on a team where he doesn't have to do. He'll get his scoring from dunks, but he won't have to exude a lot of energy on offense. I think he can put that all to defense, and it's going to be a field day for that man. So Bam Adebayo is my pick for deep boy.
I love that. My deep boy is Anthony Davis. I've kind of harped on it already. He's ready to rumble. I think he's going to play a lot of games. He's been playing in preseason like LeBron and Russell Westbrook. Like, you can tell they're not really taking preseason all that serious. Anthony Davis, man, he had an interview after preseason game 1, and he's talking about where they need to improve already. He's talking about the defensive side of the ball way more, and he knows he has to be a rim protector this year. Like, their on-ball defense from the perimeter is not that good.
Do you think him sliding to the 5 impacts
will help that? Yeah. Oh yeah. He'll be able to play the 4 and the 5 more, which whenever Anthony plays the 4, it really kind of frustrates me as a Laker fan, because he tends on the defense side to hover around the perimeter, doesn't really go in for rebounds. He needs to be down low. And so I think this year he will be much, much more. So he's my deep boy. And who's your rookie of the year?
Really big coming out of this guy when he came out of college, a UConn kid, Charlotte Hornet now, James Bouknight. Averaged 19 points, 6 boards, 6'5", 190. Like to see that frame get a little bigger. Only shot 30% from 3 in college, so I'm intrigued to see how he shoots at the big boy level. But I think he's long. I think he can do a lot of things offensively. I don't really know where he fits in that Charlotte Hornet team. I'm just so high on him, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to pick a guy that I was super high on coming out of the draft. So James Bouknight for me.
Mine's Jalen Green. A big part of this award again is opportunity. Man, there's not
That's
many
a thing.
players on that Houston Rocket team that are going to take away opportunity from your number one guy.
It's what him and Christian Wood. I mean,
yeah. And if you're a betting guy, futures bet on the NBA, Jalen Green's plus money. I have a bet placed on him. I just think it's unbelievable. I would go him or Kuminga are the two guys that I would.
What about Cunningham?
No.
Okay.
He's plus money too, but in terms of what I believe, no. I think a big part of his game, while it is scoring, is also creating, and who's he creating for is a huge part. I think his assist numbers will be a little rocky. His rebounding, I don't think he'll put too much effort on that. Try not to get hurt per se. And I think his big emphasis will be scoring. I think he'll average 20 points a game. He's going to have to in order for them to score. So
I think he's going to be actually a pretty fun team to watch, just because you're just like, oh, I remember that guy in college. Like,
yeah. Who's your coach of the year?
I got Billy Donovan in the Chicago Bulls.
Respect that. Understanding from your rankings, I have. I mean, obviously, if the Mavericks are the 1 seed, Jason Kidd's coach of the year.
Yeah. Billy Donovan went 31-41 last year. I think that flip flops, and I think he's, that transition to them being a top team will push him over the edge. But I mean, like you said, the Mavericks do win that many games. I mean, yeah. So,
who's your 6th man of the year? This is a fun award.
It's so funny. All my awards are Eastern Conference guys. I just realized, but that's fine. Patty Mills of the Brooklyn Nets is my 6th man.
Yeah. I respect that.
10 points a game last year, 41% of the field, 38% from three. I think that just volume bumps up. So I'd like to see Patty Mills win 6th man. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I could have gone Jordan Clarkson, but
yeah, if I had to put money on a guy, I have Jordan Clarkson. I think he'd be the guy easily. But if I'm going to have a little bit of fun, Kendrick Nunn. I think Kendrick Nunn on the Lakers, he'll have so many opportunities. And last year, I mean, he started majority of the games, I believe, for the Heat. I'm not sure. Him and Goran Dragic probably. I'm sure Dragic came off the bench.
Yeah, he might be a pick too in Toronto. I mean, he could win it
for sure. Derrick
Rose come off the bench, and
there's a lot of potential 6 man of the years this year. I mean, Montrezl Harrell's always one you need to watch for, and in Washington, he's going to have a lot of opportunity. That'll be interesting there. But yeah, if I had to put money on one, and like I said, I placed Jordan Clarkson here. But if I were to have a little bit of fun, go out of the comfort zone, Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn's the guy. It's so for the last segment here, we kind of wanted to have a little bit of fun and have a preseason finals prediction. 2 teams. I kind of had a little bit more fun with this one. I have one team that people are going to be like, well, that's easy. But and then I did surprise teams that could potentially make a run for the money. That could surprise Fred here, and I kind of want to throw him off with those. But Fred, who's your potential finals prediction?
Bulls Lakers.
That'd be
fun. Throwing it back.
I was about to say that'd be a lot of fun because the Lakers would be going to win the record of most finals won. 18. They're tied at 17 right now with the Boston Celtics. And if LeBron could pull that off in Chicago, that's like a storybook. That is legit. His 5th title, just won the most historic franchise. Their 18th title, set the league record. That's storybook. You just wrote the ending of LeBron's 30 for 30.
I'm gonna tell you why the Bulls. Don't think Brooklyn's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't think Giannis is healthy in Milwaukee. I think he still has a lingering injury. Now the question is, can they get past the Heat? That is where my train comes to an end. And I think that'd be a phenomenal Eastern Conference Finals if that goes down. Yeah. But besides that, I think the Bulls are just too talented. I'd like to see it. I know it's kind of like a fun pick. Like, of course, I could have thrown out Bucks, Jazz, or something, Bucks, Lakers, something like that. But yeah, I like the Bulls and the Lakers for my finals.
You just absolutely killed me. It's the Jazz Bucks for me. You said I could have thrown out the Jazz and the Bucks. Jazz Bucks. The Jazz are a team that always lingers, but has never gotten over the hump. This could be the year. Lakers, I'm not gonna sit here and act like we don't have our problems. They are an older team. And LeBron's getting old. LeBron, Russ, AD, everybody's healthy. I'd put my money on the Lakers, but just in a world where I'm going out on a limb, preseason prediction, Jazz, Bucks. And again, my surprise team in the East to make the finals was the Bulls. My surprise team in the West, the Grizzlies. And you can hate on the Grizz all you want, but they are a team. Watch out for them. They got
my surprise team is not even a surprise. The Warriors.
Yeah.
Clay comes back healthy and just
he comes back healthy.
Oops.
They can be the best team in the league. So they could win another championship. Like, people forget how good Klay Thompson is. So I agree, man. Well, that was a heck of a show. I had a
that
lot
was a heck of a show, man.
I
can't wait for the NBA, bro. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun. So next week, like I said, we will have a more look ahead to the season, because whenever you will be listening, it will be opening night in the NBA. Troy will be ready to rumble. He'll be sitting on his bed watching the Lakers at 10 o'clock Eastern.
Hey, and stay tuned for some live streams maybe throughout the year, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will I might be live streaming actually on Tuesday night, the Laker game, 10 o'clock. We'll see what Fred's doing if he wants to hop in on that. But I probably will, now that you said that. Ring ceremony for the Milwaukee Bucks. That's always fun to watch. I'll be excited to watch those guys receive their rings. It's always a cool moment. And so, Fred, get us out of here, my guy.
Hey, everyone, thank you so much for welcoming us back with open arms. We're super excited to start pumping out some content. Be ready for some NFL, some college, of course, NBA. Everything's heating up. It's an awesome time to be a sports fan. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. If you ever have any comments, questions, please leave them down below. Follow us on TikTok, all that good stuff. Don't be a star. Don't be a superstar. Be an X factor. Change the game. We'll see you next time. God bless and peace out.